As we're coming to the second anniversary of COVID in North America, come into the practice acknowledging that we're tired. When we have issues like that in our nervous system, we often go into fight, flight, and freeze. So we probably spent more time in those sympathetic arousal and freeze than we would normally, maybe. And on top of everything else in our lives, we have COVID, and now we have what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine. And a lot of people have been feeling very much affected by that, of course. So I wanted to do a practice today around keeping an open heart and letting things in and keeping a foot in ventral vagal as well so that we can stay stable, return to stability more quickly. And how it always starts with noticing what's here right now. We'll do about a 15-minute reflection on hardening our hearts, opening our hearts, letting in what's happening. And of course, we don't just have to work with our own nervous system. We work with all the nervous systems around us. Whatever it is that causes one country to aggress against another and go to war, and what's happening in a country that will fight against being taken over. We're seeing a lot of things that we admire and a lot of things that really scare us. And right now, for the last week, Russia has been really on the news, and the Ukrainian people have been affecting us. We're also affected very personally because we're seeing similar patterns playing out in our families, our friends, our personal lives, groups that we might be in, and certainly in our own hearts and minds. Very difficult to stay in a connected, safe, trusting nervous system state when something like this is going on. And we care. So let yourself really sink into the felt sense of that in your body right now. And notice which parts of your body feel tight or contracted. Are there parts of your body that are kind of outside of your awareness? Are you kind of a little bit numb? There might be parts of the body that are really active, painful, or agitated. When we're working with our nervous system responses, one of the places to start is to notice our arms and legs, and is our body at rest? So we know when we have a sympathetic arousal, a fight or flight, that our body prepares to fight or leave. And so notice as you're coming into a relaxation, if that feels like that's a possibility in your body right now. Can you rest? Can you let the floor or the chair support your body so that you could rest? We are affected by external events and large global happenings. And we're also very much affected by what's happening in our personal life. So this might be a week in which you were dealing with a lot of other things and you put the whole Ukraine and that fear and catching up on the news to the side. Maybe it's not something that you're working with right now. And there are probably still people around you who are elevated into a fight or flight response. Maybe people are having trouble sleeping. Maybe we are as well. So notice all of the things that are at play here. And then let them kind of move to the side or the background and notice your body. And as you're bringing your attention into your body, is it allowing a rest or is it still kind of hypervigilant, ready to roll? And as you breathe out, let go of whatever tension could be released. The large muscles of the back, your arms, your chest, your legs. And notice your breath. very regulating for the nervous system. When we have a deep diaphragmatic breath, it's continuous, it's smooth. And we're very practiced at softening the stomach area and the belly, letting the breath become smoother, letting that signal our nervous system of safety. Notice how that's working right now in your own system. Does it feel like you're moving into that anchoring, safe, connected kind of a breathing pattern? Are you holding your breath? Is your breath shallow? Really just taking a reading. And then, of course, we automatically start to soften. If we notice we're holding our breath, then we'll start to breathe. We might breathe more deeply. And just for a moment, notice if it's okay to let your body breathe like that. Smooth, deep, even, continuous. And then notice as well the thoughts that might be swirling around in your mind. Or maybe you have a dullness or a numbness in your mind, fogginess. We're just kind of making room for our nervous system response right now. And if you're working with catastrophic thoughts, you could do some tapping. You could put them in the frame, look at them with your eyes open. You could work with the thoughts with the tools that we have. And sometimes it's enough just to notice there's whatever is going on in the mind, in the thought stream, just to observe it or witness it. So we're keeping a foot in ventral vagal, that state of awareness or presence. We're noticing what's happening in our mind. And notice your whole experience. If you wanted to, you could look around the room. If you're feeling anything less than relaxed and safe, you could anchor into that as well. So there are many people in the world who are in physical danger right now. And if we're safe in the location where we're at, we're not in danger right now. So we could really let our nervous system take that in. Right now, my body is safe. Notice your forehead and eyebrows, your mouth and your jaw. If you're clenching your teeth, see if you could soften that. And coming back to the large muscles of the back and of the chest, your arms and legs. We're letting our body know through our attention, through our breath, through visual input, that our body is safe right now. So if we can come up out of a freeze response, if that's what's happening, and then come up from there into a sympathetic arousal where we have a little bit more capacity to take in, to notice other thoughts that might be there. There might be a fight response, a flight response. And then to come up into this ventral vagal of, I'm aware of what's happening in my nervous system right now. And I have some access to that higher level brain functioning, also to awareness or presence. I'm aware of my circumstance, of my experience, and I'm confident in my breath. I can let my body know that I'm safe through my breath. If I'm feeling really edgy or restless, I could get up and shake or move around. We have a lot of options. And we can let that in, that we're not helpless in the face of what's going on in our nervous system and what's happening in the world. And then bring your attention into your heart center. Sometimes there's a lot of emotion. It would be very understandable if you go from that into a fear response or some kind of catastrophic thinking. What's going to happen? So see if you could keep yourself steady in the moment and not go into the future. And if you do, just to come back, do some tapping or just refocus again. When we notice the energy in our heart center, and we might notice energy in our gut as well, it's a way to tune into our experience, what's happening right now. And notice if there's any disconnect happening. Are you numbing it a little bit or keeping it a little bit distant? Maybe it feels like it's a bit too much. Are you shaming yourself in any way for the response that you're having? All of this is so normal. We feel powerless and overwhelmed at these big things that happen in the world. And a sudden escalation of risk, like what's happening right now with Russia invading the Ukraine, is something that we're going to respond to, even though it's not an immediate danger in our personal life. And we might respond by blocking it out. We might go into a fight or flight. We might cry. We might feel heavy. There's all kinds of things that might happen. So see if you could allow yourself to have the response that you're having without any kind of shame or needing it to be different. We've all been in these states many times a day, usually. But just to bring awareness, to allow this to be happening in presence. And to add some space into it might be something like, right now I'm feeling a lot of grief. And I recognize that that's not how I always feel. I cycle through emotions like everybody else. Sometimes I feel such immense joy and gratitude. And then in the next moment, I might feel something else. So we could give it some space in that sense, and just acknowledging that these are not stuck. They might be quite strong at the moment, but we're not stuck in these. We have many experiences with feelings, some of which are more welcome than others for sure. And then let yourself become aware again of your whole body and the space that your body is occupying, what's happening in that space. And there might still be a lot of intensity in the heart center area, maybe in your gut. But notice everything else as well. Notice what's happening with your arms and legs. That can indicate if our body is starting to settle or if we're still kind of amped up. And for the next couple of minutes, let's just focus on the breath. Notice as you exhale, there's that natural softening. And then as you inhale, notice if it feels okay to breathe in deeply. Get some nourishment into the cells of the body again. And you can breathe out through your mouth, out through your nose. See if you could breathe out longer than what you're breathing in, and let yourself let go as you breathe out. We're letting go of the stale air. We're letting go of the emotional reactions to things. If we were feeling hard-hearted, maybe we could let that go. Any expectation that we should be somehow different than we are, that's another thing we could let go. And bringing in that freshness of the inhale. And that long, slow release of the exhale. And before you move, open your eyes and just look around again, taking in what's happening in your room. Bring your hands to your heart or hold your hands. Notice your feet, your seat. And then when you're ready, finish the practice.